Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. 2 days ago, on the 27th of March 2025, I made this video right here. And I said here, I assessed that United Kingdom plus France recreate their empires with European Union's army. It's even in the thumbnail right here. France plus UK form EU army to fight Russia for them. And why did I use this one? Because today, an hour ago, I read this on Sputnik an hour ago. Phantom pain of lost empires. Starmer and Macron risk global conflict over Ukraine. That's exactly what I said 2 days ago. And I will show you something else. Russia Today. This is from the 28th of March 2025. United Kingdom and France key to Kiev's latest attack on Russian energy infrastructure, Moscow claims. British specialists set coordinates for a Ukrainian missile system that struck a gas metering station, the foreign ministry has said. France and the UK actively aided Kiev in a strike on the Sudzha pipeline infrastructure in Russia's Kursk region on Friday, Foreign Ministry spokeswoman Maria Zakharova has told journalists. Earlier, the Russian Defense Ministry said that the metering facility was, and I'm quoting, de facto destroyed in a Ukrainian HIMARS attack. And I'm quoting, we have reasons to believe, I never like this kind of start. Do you have evidence? If you say reasons to believe is based on evidence, then reasons to believe. You either say yes or no. We have reasons to believe that targeting and navigation were facilitated through French satellites, and the British specialist input target coordinates and launched the missiles, Zakharova said, commenting on the strike. And I'm quoting, the command came from London, she said, branding the attack part of a Ukrainian, quote-unquote, terror campaign targeting Russian energy infrastructure. The spokeswoman added that such actions demonstrate that Kiev is, and I'm quoting, impossible to negotiate with. Well, they're pushing in both directions. The Ukrainians say the Russians cannot negotiate. The Russians say the Ukrainians do not negotiate. The problem is the Russians sit at the negotiation table with the losers, which is the United States of America. They are the losers in Ukraine. They portray themselves as being the peacemakers and, the people who take the kids here and, hey, come on, what's wrong with you? Ukraine, Russia, you gotta be friends now. No. You are part of these guys. You are the initiator. Nevertheless, let's go back to this article. So, HIMARS the coordinates were given by the British specialists using French satellites. Now, why can't the Brits use the British satellites? They don't have any or something? That's the first one. The second one, I don't think, personally, that the HIMARS are operated by the Ukrainian military. I think it's operated by the NATO troops. As I say, specialists. That's what I think. You need about 90 people or 80 to 90 people to operate the HIMARS, to strike. I don't think you can train them in 6 months to be experts. Now, I think France and Great Britain and the countries that provided weapons to Ukraine and intelligence and coordinates and everything else, intelligence, are actively involved in a war against Russia. That's why I'm saying NATO lost, the West lost. Because they're losing. They want to make peace right now and save face. So, let me give you this analogy. So I'm right here fighting the neighbor. He shoots, I shoot, I throw a grenade, boom, and then a flamethrower and all the good things. And then when you do this, the other side is losing. The hair is burning, has holes in him, and so on. And all of a sudden you have someone else, like 3 towns over. And then they came over and they give my neighbor a good weapon, like a sniper weapon, and they get behind the Ukrainian guy, okay, and he's gonna guess, okay, now right here, you see over there the target, that's Emil's child. All right, let's put like this. He's part of the enemy, by the way. Okay, so you stay here. Obviously, look through the scope right there. Okay, I'll hold it. Now, breathe in, exhale. Boom! Now, was the guy behind providing the weapon, which is French, let's say American weapons, the HIMARS? Even though it was not maybe provided by them, it probably provided by the European baboons. So let's say it's provided by the Americans. So the weapon, then the know-how, and the guy who got the Ukrainian supposedly to shoot at Emil's target, which I already mentioned, unfortunately. Now, are those guys my enemy? When I see that, I say, hey, Gigi, Zuzu, what the hell are you doing? You're helping Ivan or Sergei? We're not involved, Emil. You're shooting at my family here. What do you think I will do? It goes without saying, I will you up. And I can do that. I will tell you, stop yesterday. And if you don't, you see this? Bing. I'm crazy? I am. But don't tell me you're not involved. You are involved, 100% actively involved. So what should the Russians do? I hope the Russians, I don't hope, they, I think, hope that will talk with the Americans, and the Americans will be able to make these baboons stop. Why? Because these baboons have interest. The interests are pushing for more war, because for them the interests make more profit. That's one topic of this video. The other one is the Kremlin prepares to launch multi-vector offensive along 1,000-kilometer line of contact. Here it is, according to the Ukrainians. Associated Press, taken from Associated Press. Kremlin prepares to launch multi-vector offensive along 1,000-kilometer line of contact. See this? Where is the helper here? The weapon right there, the scope. All right. Russian troops are preparing for a new offensive in the coming weeks to intensify pressure on Ukraine and strengthen the Kremlin's position in the ceasefire negotiations. Analysts said that the new offensive could last for 6 to 9 months. Putin said yesterday, I made a video on that, we're going to finish them off. This is the last smack, and that's what's going to happen. So these guys come again today and say that. Now, officials and analysts say this could give Russian leader Vladimir Putin's grounds to drag out negotiations on a ceasefire in an attempt to seize more territory. Possibly, why don't you stop the war today? Oh, it's complicated. Ukrainian officials reiterated that Russia is not interested in a genuine dialogue to end the war. All right. Analysts and military commanders told Associated Press that as the spring fighting season approaches, the Kremlin is preparing for a multi-vector offensive along the 1,000-kilometer line of contact. So why only the Russians prepare for that? Why don't the NATO troops prepare for that as well? Citing intelligence that I don't trust, Ukrainian President Zelensky, he's Ukrainian as I am Zimbabwean, said Russia was preparing new attacks in Sumy, Kharkiv and Zaporozhye Oblast. That's another thing they said yesterday. I covered that. And remember, Trump. Putin said, I covered it yesterday or the day before, we will finish them off. The Ukrainian, Kiev's forces will be finished off. Why? He knows what he knows. And let's go to the conclusion. And the conclusion is this. There are some interests, global interests, who profit out of this war. And they have their own interests. Their own interest, obviously, is profiting, and more profits if they take over Russia. That's the whole thing. Or in Ukraine as well. But Ukraine is a small step for mankind. All right? So that's what it is. And these are losing right now because Trump tries to stop their gravy train from running. And they try to suck as much as they can, and maybe they can derail it. Maybe they can postpone it for about 4 years, or maybe sooner. I mean, Trump is old. You know what I mean? His skin can turn cold. You know what I mean? He got Secret Service around him. He's got many people around him. He's old. I mean, heart attacks and, strokes can happen to old people. And not only. So, my friends, the Brits and the French help. What should the Russians do? I think the world, unless you're really a baboon, you know who's who, what's what. I'm not trying to say that the Russians are perfect or anything like that. But in this case, we know exactly who initiated or what triggered the war in Ukraine. We know exactly who's behind that. and we know who's in the offensive, we know who's losing, we know who want to prevent a peace process to even start. We know who the warmongers are. We know who their operatives are in the media, and who the experts and the analysts and the professors and all this ex-military or the intelligence. You know who they are. We know who they are. The problem is, can we do anything about it? Well, if we try to vote, look what happened in Romania. I don't even know, not only Romania, you can look if you want in Germany as well. In France, they tried to ban Marine Le Pen. In Germany, Alternative for Deutschland. In Romania, Călin Georgescu and Șoșoacă and so on. So these guys are, as I said, we are in a cage. Fat. We're fat because the food they give us get us fat. I'm not saying it's healthy, but we are in a fattening cage. But we are in a cage. We eat better. We have supposedly a better life, civilized, but we are in a cage. It's like a pig. You know, a feral pig is out there, a little bit skinnier because he can find food at will, but he's free, independent. We, on the other hand, are, how do you call that, domesticated pigs that are in the care of the farmer, who feeds us garbage just to get us fat as much as we can, and we make noise. He's gonna smack us around and give us food to shut the hell up. And then when Christmas time in Romania, they take care of us. So we are those kind of pigs, not the feral pigs, right? That's what we are. What can we do? I think that's someone who said that when the governments turn tyrannical, it's the duty of the citizen to help them. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.